Okay. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Forgot they were still on. Ooh, that was close. Kill that hinge part. Otherwise we'll get Klang. We don't have any survival kit on the base. We just need to give it a lick of paint and then a name. So if you have any name suggestions, please feel free to leave it in the comment below. Officer's log 10. Stardate 13-02-2081. If I am to get off of this asteroid and finally make it planetside, I need to turn my attention towards the next part of the shipyard project. The Vehicle Assembly Building, or VAB for short. This will give me a space to work in a pressurized atmosphere, as well as protect me from the solar radiation. That being said, I have been picking up some strange trace energy readings lately that could indicate other survivors of the UPML expeditious frontier. Perhaps I'm being too hopeful. Only time will tell. Hello, fellow engineers. Today we're going to continue working on our shipyard and working towards the goal of making a satellite to get to the nearby planets. So last week we constructed this hangar building on top of the assembly building and we upgraded the landing pads. Now this week what we want to do is we want to build a new landing pad alongside this one and build a vehicle assembly building so that we can assemble small grid ships in a nice pressurized atmosphere, as well as have a nice area to build modules for large grid ships. Now, I'm not very good at explaining this, so it may just be better to see it to understand it. The first thing I need to do is get another pad going, and with the sun being where it is, I'm going to have to be very careful with how I do this, so I don't end up burning to a crisp. Before we start, we're going to outfit the original worker bee with an event controller to control all of its docking behaviours, as that is something it is missing. And then what we can do is we can alternate between the two worker bees in order to get these pads fixed up. And away we go. Okay, so we're going to weld up these support frames, because I'm going to use these as spacers to make sure there's enough room between the pads that any ships landing between them don't interfere with each other. So I'm going to weld up these spacing blocks. I think I will likely do... yeah, I will likely do maybe a beam block between those two and a proper walkway type section in these three wide gaps. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Forgot they were still on. Is there a setting I can... there is a setting, that's the one I needed to change. Cool. Right, let's get this running again. Now, with the extra upgrades we did to the Mark 1, it does make it... ooh, that was close. The Mark 1 is still usable. And because it holds more cargo capacity and has double the welders, doing this section is a lot more feasible with the Mark 1. The Mark 2 is useful for doing precision work. Building things this way is slower than using the welder, but you do have to spend a lot less time going backwards and forwards. And especially with the solar radiation enabled, it is much more convenient to build it from within an enclosed cockpit. Okay, I take it back, this is actually significantly quicker. You know, there is enough room in here for me to turn around, isn't there? There is! Brilliant, awesome. So let's do that instead of reversing back out the entire time. Oh, I've made a mistake. I have made a mistake. I wasn't meant to go through and fill this all up with armor blocks, was I? No, I was not. What I'll do is I'll go around the border like I was supposed to, trim out the areas which I don't need because I've only done a couple of layers, so it'll be fine. And then I'll fill in with the structural landing pads. The holes have been cut back out. Let's go through and build these pads. That's good to know. In order to build anything from the cockpit, you still need it in your inventory. Doesn't matter whether you have access to it in the ship. One connector. Two connector. Three connector. Now we just need to do the conveyor network beneath them. Looks like we're out of parts again. No, it's fine. Just quickly go reload. Okay, let's start from this side this time, I think. Well, at least now that these have been connected up, I can land on these pads instead of going straight into the maintenance hangar. I'll make refilling just slightly more convenient. We've built the supports for the landing pad now. Again, I've gone with the normal beam blocks just because they look right. They just look right. So that's the second pad done. I do need to put some lights on. So I'll put some lights on, get it lit up. Second pad done. Next thing on the list is the assembly building, which will just sit next to the pad, I think. I've got a lot of space to work with here now. So I'll have the roof level with the pads, but the actual building itself will come underneath and will just append to the side here. We'll check in again once I've got a plan, because currently I'm just winging it. So this is the framework we're going to go for. It's considerably larger than the pads, but that's made up for by the fact that I can only do hangar doors 4 wide. I can make the hangar door width this way, so that I can always take parts out the front here. Any wide parts can go out the front, as long as they're only 4 tall. And any other parts, I can try and make I could try to make this side door hinge, do a merge block kind of thing. So if I do have anything big, I can pull it out the back here. One of these needs to be a full-size door. I think this side is going to be the best bet, because there's so much extra space. That's the idea. So we'll do a 4-high door here, so we can get some of the smaller parts out without having to open the big one. And then we'll try and make a contraption so that this entire side can open. That's going to be interesting. Okay, we'll go with that. So I've just laid out this floor and hooked it all up to the conveyor network. And I have decided that actually I don't like how I've laid it out. I'm thinking bringing the connectors more central is probably the way to do it, and starting from the middle here. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to have to tear all of this up and redo it. But this is what happens when you don't plan ahead. So the new floor is in. I quite like the new design. It makes a lot more sense. What I'm working on at the moment is putting on the hinges, because I want to make this side door be a hinged airtight door. So that if we do something big inside, we can get the entirety of it out. Now, I don't know the best way to do this, and I haven't really done airtight doors with hinges previously, so this is going to be a learning experience. I'm not sure if I like this door design. I can't lie. But it's bare bones, it hasn't been greebled, and I'm sure I can make it work. But the thing to do now, at the moment, is we need to test it. The theory is that when the door is closed, these 3 merge blocks lock with these 3, which shuts it on the bottom. Same with the top, so those 3 merge blocks will merge with those 3, locks it to the top. God, I used a lot of merge blocks. So the 7 merge blocks along the door's border should merge with the bottom half, so the top half should merge with the bottom half. The 7 blocks along each of the door's borders will then merge and lock the 2 halves together. And in theory, that should be airtight. Oh, bollocks, I've named them the wrong thing, haven't I? So that's now swinging down. They're going to lock into place. No, because there is a collision detected. The collision being the hinge, which is supposed to have been merged. What's going on here? No, apparently not. What if I just grind you off for the moment? The other hinge is now complaining. Interesting. Why do you not want to work? Okay, I'm going to have to troubleshoot this and figure out what's going on. Okay, will these bottom ones lock in? No, they won't. Okay, interesting. So they're now colliding. Is that because they won't lock into the other one? Oh, who would have thought that doors, hinge doors like this would be so complicated? Okay, so the bottom ones have the same issue too, which is to be expected. Brilliant. Okay, how would I fix this then? Okay, let's try something else. Now I'm really confused. Those are definitely not merged in. Maybe it is. Was it only complaining because of the way I was trying to shut it before? No, they're still separate grids. But it's not complaining this time, which is good. Let's try the other one. Oh, actually no, let's just try reversing those hinges a second and see whether they are actually locked in or not. Did I get those merge blocks on the right way around? Well, those two are aligned. One's facing inwards and this one is facing outwards, so they're aligned. Why won't you lock? No, still complaining about the hinge. I imagine it's going to be the same for the bottom ones then, but we'll give it a try. Let's open the top one and shut the bottom one, see if that works. Am I going to need to do this with rotors? Is that what I'm seeing? I may need to do this with rotors. Okay, I've done a little bit of research, and with a little bit of help from the Discord server, I think I found there's two solutions I can do. The first one should be if I detach the hinges, that doesn't work. Okay, solution one doesn't work. So the second solution is we need to double hinge it. We need two hinges, which is a pain, but it's not the end of the world. So I think we will work on getting that implemented. Let's get this door back flat. That's the button I'm looking for. So the solution to our problem here is we need to add a second set of hinges. I'm going to have to take a little bit of a time to figure out how I'm going to implement the secondary hinge. But that's all part of the learning experience. Okay, so what I've done is to do this double hinge, I have added an extra hinge beneath. And I've angled it upwards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind off the original hinge and replace it, but on this part of the hinge, and then I'll try and reattach. So in theory, if we just grind that out and place a new one in, facing in the same direction, fill that hinge part, otherwise we'll get Klang, weld that up, and then attach. Huzzah. Okay, that works. So we'll do that on this side as well. Hopefully with a bit less Klang. Kill the hinge part. And attach. There we go. It is a bit floppy. What can we do about that? Share the inertia tensor on this one. That should lock it up a little bit more. Happy days. Okay, moment of truth, I guess. Let's see whether we can get this to merge now. Door is closing. It's lining up. And it merges! Happy days! Okay, cool. If we can get the top one to work as well, then we are in business. And the question is, can we get that to unmerge? Turn them off, and then hinge. Bottom hinges. Reverse. Happy days. Okay, bottom door works. Now we just need to get the top door working as well, and then get the two halves to merge together, but not permanently. And that puts us in a very good position. Okay, well the door is built and now open, so I just need to figure out how to get them to merge together, I guess. Time to see just how badly this is going to go. Okay, so in theory, if we grab the hinges and reverse these, door is closing. Now, top one should meet the frame first. It worked! Okay, that's amazing. So that is now fully shut. And I don't know if I like the look of it. However, that being said, the reason why we've got these indents in the middle is so that we can unmerge the two halves and reopen them. You can't have flat faces, they have to be points meeting each other. Now, I don't know if I like them being these 45-degree slopes, or whether I prefer them to be the 1x2 slopes. I think I prefer them being the 1x2 slopes. So I'm going to mess around with the design for this door and figure out what the best looking thing I can come up with is. I'll probably also do away with some of these merge blocks because we don't need that many either. I'll redesign the door, but now that I've got it working and I know how to make it work, it should just be relatively straightforward to make a nicer design. Oh, actually, before I disappear, let's just make sure we can reopen this, because if we can't reopen this, then I have to go back to the drawing board. So I need to turn off the merge door locks. Need to turn off. There we go. Going back to subgrids. So now I have to go back to the hinges. Reverse those. It opens! Yes! We have ourselves a working door. Now I just need to make it pretty. So the bottom half has been done. I quite like how it's turned out. It is very bulky, but that's okay. That is the intention. So now I just need to get the top half done as well, because that is looking very sad. Once the top half is done and the bottom half is done, then we can start thinking about building this, or building a roof. That's important, isn't it, I suppose? Doing the interior. And then we can start building this satellite. Yeah, this welding ship has made doing big builds like this so much easier. It was a really good investment, I think. So looking at the difference between the top door and the bottom one, I think I prefer the sleeker look of the top one rather than the stepped look of the bottom. So I think I will just quickly go through and replicate what I've done on the top. I think the bottom door looks a bit too busy. There we go, much better. Right, let's just make sure that these modifications haven't interfered with opening the doors. We'll ignore the blocks which I accidentally placed. There we go, no interference. Perfect. So now we just need to do the roof, the rear wall, and then the internal greebling. But let's get the roof and the last wall in first, so then we can test for airtightness. Because that is the thing that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that this door isn't airtight. Oh no, that means I'm out of steel plates. Oh, I must have whacked it real bad, hang on. Oh, I did whack it real bad. Okay. That is good to know. That shouldn't have happened. So, turns out I've run out of steel plate, which means I've run out of iron. Yep, no iron. What else are we running low of? No, it's just iron. Just iron that we're running low of. Everything else is pretty okay. So we've got a couple of options here. We are literally 5 steel plate away from getting this pressurized. So I think I'm gonna scavenge 5 steel plate from some of these extra greebly bits, because they're not going to lose pressure. So in theory, if we merge these closed, this should pressurize. We'll do a quick pressure test, then we're going to go get more iron, for we are completely out. Okay, moment of truth. Doors are open. I've set up the buttons on the merge block. I've set up the controls for the control panel. Just as this is a temporary control panel for the moment. Doors will shut, but will they lock? They've shut. They've merged. But we're not pressurized. Why aren't we pressurized? That hasn't merged. Why is that not merged? Let's just make sure it has locked. No, that top one didn't lock. Why did the top one not lock? All the merge blocks are on. Maybe because everything is trying to merge all at once, maybe? Let's try that again. I might need to put a slight delay so that they don't come down at the same time. Right, you're going to lock this time. I'm going to get it shut. 639. No, so it still hasn't locked. Why wouldn't you lock? Let's just make ourselves a little opening so we can come out and have a look. Out and investigate. So that's locked. Why wouldn't you lock? There we go. Now it's locked. So let's close this one. Do we pressurize? Yes, we do. Awesome. There we go. So this room now pressurizes. So the door is sealed. It might take a little bit of finesse to get it shut, but it seals, which is the important thing. Let's, just so we don't waste all of our oxygen, let's just depressurize again. Once we're depressurized, we can reopen and we can go get some more iron so we can finish off what we were doing. Oh, here's a good question. Does it unmerge? Yes, it does. The door works flawlessly. Let's go get some iron, and then we can start thinking about doing some proper interior work. Cool, we're fully loaded, so let's carefully reverse out of here and return to base. We are currently at 2 million kilograms, which is an awful lot. And this thing is now incredibly slow and sluggish. That's fine. Oh, where is my base? Need to turn the broadcast range on that antenna up, I suppose. I mean, that's why I've not been finding any signals. The broadcast range on that antenna is way too low. Alright, let's try and get down on this new pad. Largely because it's now quite clear. There's very few obstacles around it. Ooh, almost went down face first. Where's my connector? Oh, my connector's almost perfectly lined up. Easy does it. Easy does it. And we're down. We have an awful lot of iron, and we're still not through all the cobalt. Let's just boost iron to the front of the queue. There we go. Look at all. Everything's just going beautifully now. How much power are we drawing? Even with everything running full tilt, we are essentially breaking even on our power generation. So all in all, that solar panel is doing wonders. Because even with all of our production, we're still not running at capacity, even with everything running. So that's very good indeed. That gives me enough headroom to bump up the range on that antenna. Oh, there's an unknown signal. Okay, that's interesting. So we've bumped up our antenna strength and we're now getting these unknown signals. Hopefully These could be other survivors. Now, it's not too far away. I'm going to grab the Worker Bee Mark II, because it's a bit more maneuverable. Let's go have a look. Let's go investigate. Oh, it is more maneuverable, but it's also full of stuff. I should probably make a scouting ship. Let's go find out what's going on over here then. Hopefully we have survivors. Okay, power looks good. Oh. Some kind of damaged explosion going on over here. What have we got? Oh, I may have overcooked this. I've massively overcooked this. This is what you get for constant acceleration. What have we got? There's something damaged. Can't quite make it out. What is it? It looks like a little probe thing. Any signs of survivors? No, but it does have a little bit of resources. Well, it's not quite what I was hoping for, but you know what, we'll take it. We just need to keep an eye out for these. Now we have signals showing up. I'm going to make a little solar scout, just so that we can quickly get to them. And if there are any survivors, hopefully we can pick them up. Okay, so I've started work on this little scout dropship type vessel. But we do have another signal to go investigate. So I'm just going to have to... I do need to put an airlock on this, so that we can quickly get out, but for the meantime... Oh, I forgot I had my helmet open, because these open ever so slightly quicker. Let's grab... Ooh, that's a freeze. Has it crashed? I think the game crashed. It's the first time I've had one of those for a while. One moment. So we started building this little scout dropship type craft. Let's go grab the Worker Bee Mark II. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. What is causing this crash? Is it because I'm flying away while those doors are still opening? So a whole bunch of troubleshooting and frustration later, I found the culprit for the crash. It's this panel here. Or was this panel here, should I say. So, one of the mods I'm using is Info LCD. And what it does is it gives you all this extra information. Now the issue I had was that this panel in particular had an app on it previously, and that app data got left in the custom data. Something about that combination of extra app data with the merge block door made the game very upset. But that's okay, everything's fine. I can go back through and start turning things back on. For example, let's turn the auto sorting script back on. Let's turn the auto crafting screens back on. Hopefully it comes back online. He says, "Hello, wakey wakey." Maybe I should have turned those on before this. Recompile. I'm sure they'll wake up eventually. Let's go turn the other bits on, and then we can come through and sort those out. What other screens have I got? There's the ones in the refinery. I really should do auto closing doors. Oh, there's no gravity in here yet, is there? Oh, I've turned these ones back on. Okay, so these ones are back on. That's fine. Does that mean the ones in the hangar are back on as well? Hang on. Oh. Yeah, that's right. I turned everything off, didn't I? Turned everything in this building off as one of the troubleshooting steps. One moment. Okay, these screens are back on. This hasn't rebooted. which concerns me a little bit, but I don't think it would be that big a deal. I think that's just a graphical thing rather than anything else. That being said, we now have 2 unknown signals, so we're just going to quickly go and deal with that while we're here. Okay, what have we got? Any sign of life? Anything at all? No, it's just another small probe. There's no button on this one. Oh yeah, there is a button. Ooh, rainbow drill. Okay. So if there's a drill, that means there was an engineer here at some point. And a welder. Okay. This could bode well. Let's go look at the other one. Nope, overshot. What have we got here? Something's spinning. Okay, so nothing in particular here. Although we've got some seeds. Okay. These could well be cargo pods which got dropped from the wreckage of the expedition. Okay, the screens still haven't come back online, which is concerning. Come on, come back online. Well, I've got one working. The other is being incredibly stubborn. Maybe the other worker bee isn't connected. There we go. Both are now back online. That's good to see. Let's just make sure that the other 2 scripts are back on. And then hopefully we are ready to continue working on the scouting craft we were making. Yes, there we go. They are online. Cool. Let's get back to making this scout craft drop ship debris thing. I've settled on a basic shape and thruster placement for this reconnaissance ship. We've got enough room in the back here for at least 6 other people, provided we find anyone. So I just need to design a cockpit area and design the tailplane for the back. Oh, I also need more lateral thrust and... You know what? I do have thrust in all directions. Not every direction is favoured equally, and some are favoured more than others. That being said, I do need more thrust laterally and down. Okay, shaping is coming along nicely. I have decided to forgo using batteries because, frankly, the amount I would need was absurd. So I'm going to use reactors for this craft. It's designed to be a rapid response type craft, for if I was to get a signal and there were crewmates in danger, I'd need to get to them very quickly, which is why it's got an absurd amount of thrust. It's got 4 thrusters in each direction, other than lateral thrust, but to be fair, that's still pretty good. We've got, what, 12... 13... I need a bit more lateral thrust. And I've decided to forgo using big ooh, another unknown signal. We need to go have a look at that one in a second. But I've opted not to use the large thrusters in the roof, just so I can keep the shaping right. So this is the current shaping. It's tapering off towards the end. So we've got the engine nacelles by the doorway, but I've opted to use the small ones because I can embed them into the roof. Currently, I still don't have enough to counteract the upwards thrust, because 4 big ones equal 48 small ones, if I've done the maths right. And currently I have 36... 40. Oh, I'm actually not that far off. I only need 8 more. Okay, I can do that. So it's just lateral thrust really that I need to get in. Lateral thrust, gyros, and any other control surfaces. This is getting closer than I thought. Okay. Oh, and I also need the cockpit. I don't know what I'm going to do at the front here, because currently it is big and flat. I kind of don't want it to be that big and flat. We've kind of cut it close with this unknown signal, so let's just quickly go out and get it. Oh, we had loads of time. Right, what's this? What have we got? Any signs of life? Oh, it's trying to fly away. How do I make my dampeners relative? Oh, it's getting... It's speeding off, okay. What is this? A little missile thing. Knock it off course. Okay, hang on. Whoops. Oh, that could be an issue. It's the first time I've died. We don't have any survival kit on the base. Okay, that is good to keep in mind. Okay, that was a mistake. That looked like a missile. Is that a recon probe or something? Okay. Oh, I need to go retrieve the worker bee. Okay, let's go retrieve our stuff. That was incredibly foolish. That's the first time I've died. Which is not great. That's where I died, but I'm fairly sure my bag has disappeared off into space. Oh no, there it is. Oh, thank goodness for that. Why do I have a pistol? Okay, well that's good to know. That probe seems to have still going far away. Okay. That's mildly concerning. Why could I also not... Why couldn't I... Relative dampeners? I've always been so careful. Okay. That wasn't very productive. But, you know what? I needed some humbling. It's a shame that I lost all my perks, though. That being said, I should absolutely put an emergency survival kit on the actual base itself. That's a good place as any. I'll just cram it in here for the moment until we can find a more permanent place for it. Okay, we've made a bit of progress since last time. It's going well. It is slow going, but that's because I only have half a plan. Currently it spans 2 connection ports, which is fine. I've got all the lateral thrust on. I think I'll need a little bit more on the tail, but that'll be fine. All of the functional components are in, and I've started doing a bit of the interior work as well. So we have our survival kit. We have all of our communications equipment. We have room for 8 people. And no, we've got room for 10 people, including the pilots, because I'm going for a double cockpit design. I'm going to have this little bit here raised and maybe do like a slight curve just so that we can grab things at the front if we need to. All in all, it's starting to shape up quite nicely. The shaping at the front's now done, so we've got a nice shape. It's all enclosed. I've done a pressure test. It all seals. It all pressurizes. Close the doors. Look, it all pressurizes. Happy days. So we have an interior, mostly. We just need to get the shaping on the exterior sorted. The shaping is going really well. I've managed to get about halfway done, really. We have the front properly shaped up now. We've got the spaced out armour on the sides, just to keep the engines... Or just to give the engines a bit more flair, really. I've been working along the top, and that's slowly getting there. And now it's the back, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. All in all, it's starting to look really nice. Although, I have noticed we have almost doubled its weight since we have started adding all the armour. And the armour isn't even really for protection, it's just there for style. The price we pay for the aesthetic. Right, we've got the back enclosed now. And I'm really happy for how this has turned out. I do need to give it a paint job. That is one thing that is missing. And I think it might need a few more gyros because we're currently sat at 80,000 kilograms. 81 tons. I don't think 4 gyros is going to be enough for that. So we'll add a couple more gyros. I need to add a projector. And I then need to work on the bottom because I think the bottom is just flatness. Oh, and give it some landing gear. Either way, this is very almost ready for liftoff. We're going to ignore how long it's taken. A large part of that was diagnosing bugs and getting utterly distracted because my attention span is that of a goldfish, apparently. But it's here. It's ready. Almost. Oh yeah, the interior doesn't need any work. The interior is pretty good. The other thing I need to do is set up the event controller for docking and the pressurization logic so that it depressurizes before it opens the door. Other than that, both cockpits can be accessed from the inside. We've got room for 8 passengers, 1 pilot and 1 co-pilot. Hopefully, we'll be able to pick up some survivors. So I've done the final bit of decorating. I've added a bit of extra detailing. We've got some navigation lights. I have changed the temperature of the floodlights to be cooler, just so it contrasts with the warmer temperature of the base lights. Largely so I can see when I'm landing. I've opted to go for a red light for the searchlights, just so you can actually see them and see what they're pointing at. I finished off the back. I've also done the underneath, so we've got some nice detailing on. We've got a little bit of underbelly armour, just to help level that off. We have our landing gear on these trusses. I've fitted a landing gear to the front so that we can pick objects up, and that's largely what this front connector's for as well. I've done the docking logic on the event controller so that when we land, everything that we don't need on turns off, and the tanks go to stockpile. The emergency battery is set to recharge. I've also done some logic so that when we run out of fuel, then it switches everything which isn't necessary off. Turns the antenna off but the beacon on because the beacon takes less power draw. So if we do run out of fuel, then we have some reserve... Oh, and it switches the batteries on. So if we run out of fuel, we have reserve power. On the inside, I have added more gyros. I've added the projector. I've also added the logic for the air vents. So when the room is pressurized, the doors can't be opened. Now, a commenter on my most recent video by the name of Cedric Sky, I'll probably butcher that, they very kindly informed me that air vents actually have an action slot. They've got an action slot, which means you can control what happens when a room is pressurized or not. So in this instance, I've got it to... When the room is pressurized, it turns the doors off. And when the room is depressurized, it turns the doors on and opens them. So when we press this button to depressurize the room depressurizes, doors turn on, doors open. So that's how we're going to keep the internal compartment here from accidentally depressurizing. All in all, everything's going really well. Let's get this back down on the pad. I think I'm almost ready to call this done. Oh no, I need to paint. I always forget that I need to paint. Every time I think that I'm ready to call the project done, I forget that I need to paint. We're almost there. We just need to give it a lick of paint and then a name. So if you have any name suggestions, please feel free to leave it in a comment below. For this ship, this beautiful ship, this beautiful rapid response vehicle needs a name. Well, that's the painting done. I've opted to go for a 3-tone colour scheme, with the primary colour being white, secondary being the orange, and the tertiary being the original charcoal grey. I quite like it. I like how it's turned out. The outside's been done, the inside has also been done to a degree. I think if I continue... I mean, I can spend hours painting, but if I continue doing it any more, then I will run out of time for this episode. So I think I've captured everything. All that's left now is its maiden voyage. Let's get it back on the pad just to make sure everything is stockpiled and recharged. And we can go hunt down some of these unknown signals. Alright. The ship has been painted. The cockpits have been configured. The inventory manager has been set up to stockpile uranium for the reactors. And some bits and pieces in the main cockpit. Just a few spare tools and some bottles. So now it's time we actually get this out onto one of the main pads, I suppose. I've just depressurized the room. I'm going to fly out those doors there, I think. Mainly because that's the way it's facing. So doors are open. We are off the pad. I do need to take a blueprint of this action now that I think about it. But look at it! Honestly, this is one of my better ships, I think. For sure, this is definitely one of my better ships. Okay, let's just quickly grab a blueprint. And we can take it for a spin. The RRV placeholder. This is a majestic ship. Do we have any unknown signals? We do not. But that's okay. This thing has a pretty good acceleration. Ah, okay, so this readout is actually working. That's fine. So it does give me a stop distance and how long it will take me to come to a complete stop. Which is good to know. That is one of the things... Oh, that screen there doesn't like having the extra custom data. But yeah, this ship flies really well. It handles really well. It's got decent acceleration. It's everything I wanted from a rapid response vehicle. Gently does it. Let's find ourselves a connector. Okay, why is it not seeing the connector? Interesting, okay. Because I was miles away, that's why. Ah, the pads out here have different spacing. How much do I overhang? If I go to that front connector, how much do I overhang? You know what? That's fine. I can live with that. It's a prime location to launch from anyway. The vehicle assembly building is a very useful asset because we were able to construct this in an entirely pressurized environment outside of the sun. We didn't have to keep hiding in the shadows like I'm doing now. That bodes well for the future. What I need to do is finish it off, but I think that might have to be next episode. Thank you all for watching and coming on this journey with me. If you haven't already, please feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps the engagement and provides motivation to continue on this project. If you haven't already, please leave a comment below suggesting a name for this new ship that we've made. And we will see you next time to finish off the vehicle assembly building. This is Fiery Shadows, signing off.